So before we go ahead and get started on today's experiment, I have 3 very important words that I'm going to need you guys to know by the end, so we're going to go ahead and get acquainted with those words to start with. So our very first word is transparent. Our next word is translucent. I know those words kind of sound the same, but they are in fact different. So that word is translucent. And our very last, third important word for the day is opaque. All right. And you might have noticed that I do have several items up here next to me, and each of these items are either transparent, translucent, or opaque. So our first item is transparent. So this item right here, this jar, is transparent. Our other item over here that is transparent is this little tiny glass. This glass is also transparent. The next word we're going to be looking at is opaque. A great example of an opaque object is this water bottle right here. Our other opaque item over here is this tissue box. So I want you to go ahead and turn to your partners and just talk about what differences you see between transparent items, such as the jar and the glass, and opaque items, such as the water bottle and the tissue box. So go ahead and just turn to your partners and discuss that for me. Awesome job, you guys. So throughout hearing you guys talk, I heard that you guys were able to discover that transparent items mean that you can see through it. I can see perfectly through this, right? But opaque items, they're solid, so I can't really see through it. It's all the way solid around, so I can't see through a water bottle, and I can't see through a tissue box. So you might have guessed what our last 2 items, what category they fall into, and they are translucent. So these items are translucent. So we have the shampoo bottle and then the hand sanitizer. So these items are considered translucent. So go ahead and turn back to your partner right now and talk about the differences between transparent, translucent, and opaque, now that you see an example of each of them. Awesome job. So you guys are able to say that translucent means that you can kind of see through it, but not all the way. It's not as clear as a transparent item, but it's still kind of clear, but it is not as solid as a opaque item. So today we're going to be talking about light, and light actually travels in waves. And each wave comes together and they make a beam of light. So while we're doing our experiment today and you guys watch what I'm doing, you guys are going to answer a very important question. Our question today is, what do different materials do to that beam of light? So if I were to shine a light through an object, what's it going to do to that beam of light? So we're thinking about the light and not necessarily the object. So what's going to happen to that beam of light if I passed it through a transparent object, a translucent object, or an opaque object? And that's what we're going to discover today. Alright, so now we're actually going to go ahead and get into the experiment. So I'm going to go ahead and shine a light through a transparent item, a translucent item, and an opaque item. And when I do that, I want you guys to write down in your science journals any observations you have during this. And then you guys are going to go ahead and talk with your groups when we're all done about what you saw. And then we're going to come back together. So what happens when I shone my flashlight through a transparent item? Alright, you see that? Alright, what happens when I shine it through a translucent item? Okay. And lastly, what happened when I shined it through an opaque item? Alright, now that you guys saw a little bit about each one, go ahead and talk with your groups, and then we're going to collect together and see what you guys have to say about each item. Everyone, I was so happy to hear what you guys had to say, and you guys are spot on. Transparent items mean that the light easily passes through, right? All the light can shine through. Whereas a translucent item, some light gets through, but not all of it, right? You can still see some shadows, but you can see some color, so some of the beam of light pass through. And when we look at an opaque item, is any light passing through there? No, right? No light's able to get through, but it actually creates a shadow. When we're looking at shadows, what do you think might affect a shadow? Go ahead and do a quick talk with your partners and we'll come back together. Alright, while you're still thinking about that, you yourself are actually an opaque item. You can't see through me, right? I'm a solid thing. So when I hold my hand in front of a light, it creates a shadow. Absolutely. So things that can affect a shadow are either the light source itself. So if it's a super sunny day, you might have a really big shadow, you might have a really dark shadow, but if it's kind of cloudy and overcast, your shadow might be kind of faint, or it might not even be there at all because there is no light source to create a shadow. Another thing that might affect a shadow is the size of an object itself. Do you guys think if I put a light on a penny, it would have the same shadow as if I put a light on a giant bookcase? No, right? The penny's gonna have a smaller shadow because it's a smaller object to begin with. Awesome job, you guys. I'm so proud. So now that you guys are understanding the way light works and that objects can affect the way a beam of light looks, I want you to go ahead and open up your science journals, and you're gonna make 3 columns. And in the first column, you're gonna write the word transparent and write what happened to that beam of light. In your second column, you guys are going to write translucent, and you're going to write what happened to that beam of light when it passed through translucent items. And then lastly are your opaque items. So you're going to write opaque at the top and write what happened about opaque. And then if you want, you guys can write any other information you guys learned and thought that was interesting at the very bottom. And I'm going to come around if anybody has any questions.